Start the recording. So welcome, Eva and Sandy. I'm really happy to see both of you in our interview session with regard to our Great Girls and Great Women Cross Mentoring program. And before we start discussing some questions, I would like to just for someone that listens to this trialogue to give us a very short introduction, in a nutshell, just to help those ones, the listeners, understand our goals, why are we doing this. So what we do with this cross-mentoring program is that we help the participants develop future attitude and skills, connectedness, ideas, and solutions for really concrete professional and or private challenges. And how do we do that? So until now, we involve more than 100 women in our pilot generation as mentors and mentees with really diverse cultural, social, and professional backgrounds and of different generations from all 6 continents. And we are really proud of that, and particularly with regard to these times that we are living in. And what do? We offer a learning journey, including a kickoff workshop, 2 milestone workshops, and a final workshop, including its Zonta certificate. So the first question to the 2 of you, the kickoff, how to get started in a cross mentoring. So what did you do for getting it started? How did you kick off your cross mentoring? Eva, would you like to start?
Sure. So Sandy and I actually met in person at the convention, at the kickoff meeting, at the kickoff workshop. And I think that was a great start to develop our relationship, just getting a feel for each other. And during that meeting, we did set out some goals, what we were hoping to get from the mentorship. And I think that was really helpful to just set out everything at the beginning, so the other person had an idea of what we were looking for. And we decided the frequency of our meetings, how we wanted to handle them. I think that was also really helpful. And that's it, I think, from my side. Sandy, I'm not sure, you might want to add anything.
Well, Eva's right. That's how we met. It was a bit daunting because we were in a room of a lot of other people, and finding your partner was an interesting experience. But I think that for Eva and I, we had a really good connection almost from the first words we spoke to each other. It was a really easy conversation that we had. We've both said how lucky we were to have that opportunity to meet in person at that very first session at the convention. So I think that's basically how we started, Yukiko.
Thank you. What about your goals? Would you be open to share some of your goals with regard to private challenges as well as with regard to professional challenges? Sandy, would you like to start now?
Okay, I'll start. That was an interesting process, because at the workshop that we had at convention, we were asked to discuss what our goals were, and I hadn't really given a lot of thought to that. So it was a bit of a journey for Eva and I to discuss that. My own personal goal was really to engage with younger women in a different country and with a different background to me, because I've said it over and over, I don't have a lot of young women in my life. I'm now in my later part of my life, and I don't interact so much with young women. So for me, in my own Zonta journey, I wanted to know really what young women are thinking about the future and what do they hope for the world, so that I, as a Zonta member, can really frame the best actions for my organization. And so that's my main goal was really to meet and have robust, open discussions with someone from a completely different generation to me.
Thank you. From a different generation, and then also from a different continent.
Different continent
and a different
and
culture, yeah.
and different culture and different language. Although I would say I think Eva has better English than me sometimes.
Yeah, sounds pretty much like that. So Eva,
Yeah.
what could you tell us about your goals?
So for me, one of the big goals was really to get a better idea of leadership skills, to kind of talk to someone who's, has developed their own leadership skills over the time, and ask some really specific questions about, situations I found myself in, how I could handle those challenges that I've been facing. And that's worked out really well for me. Sandy's been great with that. And I've been really wanting to develop some of my professional skills. So I told Sandy at the first meeting that I was wanting to get a better idea of how to handle everything on my plate. I've got a few responsibilities, and how to make everything work with each other. And that's also, she's also been really, really helpful with that. And then I think what Sandy mentioned, the idea of gaining a relationship with someone who's in, such a different position from where I am, a different country, completely different lives, another generation, and just getting an idea of the kind of things that she's seen and that she's willing to share with me, and getting an outlook and a different perspective on life, basically, was what I was really looking for. And I've achieved all of that.
Thank you. Wow, this is a wide array of goals, and you seem to work on pretty concrete topics in your mentorships. You already mentioned how you organize your meetings. Could you once again share that with the listeners? So what is the format, the frequency? Eva, would you like to start this time?
Sure. So we meet about once a month on Zoom. We keep our meetings pretty short, I'd say. So we usually schedule them for about 30 minutes. And I think that's really helpful. Sandy was so kind and set up basically all of our appointments until, I don't know when, I think the end of the year, probably. So that was really good, having the dates quite early on, to be able to schedule them and make sure nothing gets in the way. And then at the beginning of our mentorship, we gave each other some homework at the end of each lesson. So we always had something to come back to and discuss at our next meeting, which was really helpful.
Sandy, anything to add?
No, I think Eva has said it at all. We looked at a day that would suit us in the calendar, and we've chosen Sunday afternoon for me, which is 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday, and 9 o'clock in the morning for Eva. So it's worked out really well. She's right. We don't want to have long meetings because, because we're meeting every month, it sort of keeps us on our toes a little if we're having short, sharp meetings. And we decided initially that was what we would do, was once a month, and I think it's working really well. We've developed a really lovely relationship because we see each other once a month.
Yeah. So this is really, the frequency is really nourishing your relationship, evidently, and then you come prepared to each and every meeting. And I think this is also very, very important. What would you say? What are the critical success factors for cross mentoring, Sandy?
Well, I think being open and not holding back on any questions that you might have of the person, the mentor or the mentee, whichever side. It's about developing a trust relationship very early on, so that what we discuss between the two of us doesn't have to go any further, and also making sure that we have really some concrete things that we can do, and say, well, next month we'll talk about that, or we'll follow up on that. Eva has sent me various things via email. I've sent her various things, and we generally have quite fluid conversations. But I think the regularity of meetings, the trust, and also having some concrete ideas about what we want to talk about each month.
Thank you. That was really concrete. Eva, what would you say?
I think Sandy basically said it all, but I'd just like to elaborate a bit on the concrete things to discuss factor. I think that was so helpful in the beginning, when we didn't really know each other that much yet. I came to her with very specific things to ask, and I got very good answers. And I think that was so helpful to have something concrete to discuss. And also, once I got the first few bits of advice, I felt so much more secure in our relationship. And I think it makes a huge difference if you get some advice on a specific situation that's happening and some specific questions you're having than, general life advice, which you can basically get from Google. So that was really one of the added value factors of mentorship.
Yeah, yeah. And this is so interesting that you describe, well, you met at the very first time, and you hadn't known each other before, but then all of a sudden, with this frequency of meetings comes a kind of intimacy that helps you to open up, and then you get a very good advice from someone that you hadn't known before. And then it's all of a sudden a very intimate relationship. And I think it also helps that if you're on different continents to be really open, and then you get advice that helps you maybe much more than from someone in your own organization, because this is it's just
or your own family too, like it's someone who doesn't have an vested interest in necessarily the outcome of what it is. So the advice is completely open.
So true.
I really look forward to our catch-ups. It's something that I would really lose if we didn't have those regular catch-ups. And after every meeting, I get off the Zoom call and I feel so energized and inspired because of my friendship and what we've discussed. And every meeting, there's something interesting or new that we learn, either about each other or about a way to do something differently. And I really don't think that I know I wouldn't get that from any other contact that I have in my Zonta world. So I really, really value this this program.
Yeah, thank you so much. So would you recommend the program to other Zontians, Sandy?
Oh, 100%. Yes, absolutely. I think if it's run again, I think it will be a huge benefit to members. Particularly, I'd recommend it for I would say, and I always say this, that a mentor-mentee relationship is not one-sided. It is really about both parties gaining some value from the relationship. And so if you are a Zonta member who really wants to connect with a younger generation and learn about the prospects for the future and where you would like your club or your organization or your professional standing to be in another 20 or 30 years, this program is so valuable. I would highly recommend it.
Thank you. Eva, what would you say?
100% as well. It's been a great experience for me. And I think one thing to keep in mind is that I'm not the only one benefiting in this relationship, and neither is Sandy, but my whole Golden Set Club is benefiting. Sandy already mentioned that she paid us a visit on our monthly meeting a few nights ago, and that was such a great experience. And after Sandy and I meet, and when we discuss something on our Golden Set Club, I'm like, oh, my mentor suggested we could, do this and that. And it's so incredible because here's someone who's really willing to take their time and energy and do something, and it helps us out so much. I would definitely recommend the program.
I'm the same. I'm exactly the same, Eva. I get off the Zoom call and then I send an email to my Zonta International board members and say, well, Eva said, I think we should do this because Eva said. And so I think, how lovely is it that this young university student from Bremen in Germany gets an opportunity to have an input into the Zonta International board. I mean, how amazing is that?
I like that. I like that. And I'm already looking forward to seeing you at our next milestone workshop, which will be all about future trends. I'm going to travel to the South by next week, to Austin, and I will give you a short wrap up of the conference, but will also hear something about women and how could they finance a self-determined life, as well as insights into tech trends, digital tech trends, from a Zoom leader. So for today,
wonderful.
Thank you so much. It was really a pleasure to see you, to talk to you, to get into this exchange. I wish you a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, Sandy, to you.
Thank you.
And looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, hopefully in a couple of months' time. So wonderful. Thank you very much,
Thank
Kika,
you.
for
Thank you so
organising.
much.
Bye bye.